Welcome to Real Talk. I'm your host, Pastor Ed King. We want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I have wonderful guests here today. Our reoccurring guest, Mr. Milagro Spencer. Good to see you.
Amen,
And
brother.
our friend, Mr.
Oh, Joe Oba.
Joe Ogba. I'm so honored and blessed to have them here with us today.
The Joe Oba.
The Joe, the basketball, for those of you that are familiar with the
Don't.
basketball world.
He wasn't that good.
He was, well, of course, Milagro is always going to be Milagro. I think that's what we love about him. And I'm having Joe with us today. We really want to kind of dive into some things that have really been pressing our hearts this week. And this is going to be a two-part one. We're going to start today with this one, and we're going to have a guest on for next week's program. I want to share just real quickly before I turn it over to them. Like I told Milagro, I said, I don't know if I told him, like, this has been a rough week in terms of we working with kids and those type of things. We had at the Empowerment Network meeting this past week. We had three victims of family members of murdered people. I can't even say it right. Victims of homicide that spoke to our group this week. And like I said, for the sake of privacy, I won't give you the names, but there was probably over 50, 60 some people in the room, and listening to those people share what they shared about their family members being murdered and killed, and the murder still being unsolved, it really kind of touched our hearts today. And then we talked. Then there was three uh, people that shared, but one of the mothers, talked about her teenage son being killed at I want to say it was a nightclub or a place where teenagers hang out at, and she was talking about the pain that came along with after all these years. First thing he said, her sister's murder is still not solved, and the man that spoke about his son talked about the murder still not solved. But the young lady that talked about her teenage son he was a teenager from Northwest that was killed at a nightclub. She talked about the pain of having to live with the fact that her son is never coming home. And it just really kind of had me, I think everybody in that room was kind of thinking, okay, what more can we do in terms of helping kids, working with kids, and those type of things. And so, many of you know, we go to the youth center every Thursday, and so the short version of it was we were talking to the young men in the youth center, and for the sake of privacy, I can't say those names either, but they were three of them in there they were in there for murder. And if I told you the cases, you would know exactly what they were. And I was feeling like, man, after being in there for about a year, going back and forth in there for about a year, these kids look like normal, everyday, go to the picnic with them type kids. And the fact that they're looking at, for many of them, possibly, life in prison for the things that they've done. And it's like, I said, okay, Lord, what am I missing? And so I've been so honored and blessed to have Milagro around, because one thing I love about him, he's going to tell you the truth, regardless of whether you like it or not. He's going to give you his perspective on how he see things. But Joe, what I love about Joe is that there are many people that sit back and they talk about, hey, we need to do more for the kids. What should be doing? What I love about Joe, Joe is doing that. And so I want to turn it over to Joe and Milagro. You can jump in whatever you want. I want to hear from Joe exactly what he's doing and ways that he's working with our kids in our city, if that's okay.
Okay. Yeah. First of all, thank you for having me
Oh,
on.
anytime.
So the Oba Way, we are contracted with juvenile probation, Douglas County, Sarpy County, and Cass County. What we do is CYC community youth coaching. It's a mentoring program to kind of help the youth to beat them where they are, and then also to show them where they can go. Because a lot of times what happens is a lot of the youth doesn't have any structure or anything.
Okay.
So therefore, them not having any structure or anything, a lack of respect happens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So like a lot of times we always say these kids don't have respect,
Mm-hmm.
right? They don't know. That's because they've never been shown that.
Well.
So what we do with our program, which is so unique, a lot of our coaches that we have, they have their own individual approach that they have to the kids, and what we learning is that a lot of these kids are hands-on learning. So role modeling every day
Okay.
and being there consistent and showing up for them. What happens is we start to become their parents,
Wow.
you know, and that's really what's been happening. Because what happened now that the probation, everybody started to see, um, you can't teach parents to parent.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. Sometimes it's circumstantial. What I mean by sometimes it's circumstantial is meaning that it's generations of bad parenting. So all they
Okay.
doing is role modeling from what they learned. You understand what I'm saying?
Wow.
So in their mind, parents are probably thinking, I'm doing the best that I can do, and then who are you to come in my home and tell me how to
How to
talk to
grow.
raise my kids?
Right.
So what they did with that, so with the CYC, what they did with that was they gave us the hands-on approach with the kids. So therefore, we could show them the separation of like, you know what? No, this is what it looks like. This is what is supposed to happen. You wouldn't believe, as Milagro was attest to it, that kids these days, parents letting it be up to them if they want to go to school or not. So imagine that. Imagine you waking up, alarm clock go off for school, and your parents tell you, "Hey, Pastor King, it's up to you if you need to go to school
It's
today.
up to
If
you.
you don't want to go to school, it's all right."
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying? And those are the type of things that we're dealing with. Some of our coaches, they get the parents to call them to wake their kid up
Are
to
you
take them to
serious?
school.
Wow.
I'm being true. I'm being truthful. So with that being said, is that we're able to now peel back those layers
Okay.
and pull the kid from that situation. Understand, like, no,
Okay.
that's not the right thing to do. This is what you're supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? And you'd be surprised how many kids want that structure. They earn for that structure. So like when you go back and you say those kids you visit in jail and they're like
Yeah.
normal people, the one thing about jail is structure
It's
there.
structured. Yeah.
It's structured there.
That's a good point.
It's a good point. Even when you go to Boys Town, those kids, they get there, they're out of control and things of that nature. But what makes Boys Town so good is that they have that structure and that stability and that consistency. See, if you do things consistently with that structure,
Kids respond to it.
you would get results. That's just like you go to the gym and you practice. The ones who probably put up the most shots probably gonna make the most shots in the
More
game.
shots. Right.
You understand what I'm
Right.
saying? So more and more the practice of that consistency that you get, then you start to see those products of different things. Like we got kids that are making some strides, but we are behind the eight ball because
Yeah.
you gotta understand we got kids that's been decades of bad parenting.
Joe, when the parents don't do their part, I mean, how can you consistently get the kids to keep going when, I mean, if I knew, okay, well, growing up, if you're going to call my mom because I was acting up in school, well, that's going to motivate me when I get back to school the next day to kind of be right. But I'm trying to understand, I want the audience to understand when you don't have that parent backing, I mean, how does the child do it?
So, and like I said, and that's kind of where we fall in that because they get to see two things. See, they get to see because a lot of times I ain't even gonna blame it on bad parenting. I'm reason why I blame it on situations because sometimes you have single mothers, single fathers, and they got multiple children, and they gotta make a decision of I gotta take this extra shift at work to pay the
I
bills to
get
keep the
it.
light on, so I can't make it to this whatever I need to make it to for my kids. So, but and some people I say, oh, you're a bad parent because they're not understanding. Like, well,
Gotta
if
work to
if
make
I don't go
ends meet.
work, I don't have no food.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's a lot of parents that fall in that category. That's
Okay.
considered bad parents. They're not, but it's just like it's survival decisions they have to make. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
So now what you're asking to bring it back is what we're able to do is like we can use them as an example because you say, you know what? You see your mom and dad struggling every day, working a job they may not like just to try to put food on the table. At the rate you're going, that may be your life or even worse. Or you want to change or do something, let us show you this,
Mm.
and this could be your life. You understand what I'm
Wow.
saying?
Wow.
Please forgive me when I say a lot of it's bad parenting, but I said like sometimes it's situational of that. You
Yeah,
know what I
I get
mean?
it.
You know what I'm saying? So that's where we're able to help out the youth and get in on that part of that because uh, a lot of these kids you have to show you can tell them anything.
So many
You
things.
can tell them anything. You can have the best speech and all those things, but kids like the intangibles. See, that's why I like a lot of kids when you talk to them. They can't think past their future. They don't. They don't understand. They don't. College seems too far for them.
College teams.
You understand what I mean?
I've heard that.
They don't. They can't picture themselves because that seems in their minds. If I'm 14, 15, you tell me something that's gonna happen for me 2 or 3 years down the line. I can't see that. That's too far for me.
Wow.
So we gotta break it smaller goals, smaller things for them to see. Like hey, you know what? 2 months, 2 weeks from now, boom, boom, boom. This and this can happen. If you go to
Right.
school for 2 weeks or whatever, we could have a award for you, something like that. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
it has to
right.
be monetized for them because, like I said, they their mind just like same thing with me. And I was thinking, somebody told me, 'cause I remember growing up, I probably somebody talking to me like 25 years old or 30 years old. I thought they was old. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, man, you
Mhm.
old, but
You're old.
Yeah, washed
Yeah.
up.
so yeah, it's showing them that you have to be able to, you have to be able to show them that, and not think Milagro would probably can talk shit on
Yeah,
that
that's
stuff
all
all
I'm
Yeah,
day.
saying.
actions speak louder than words. And to go back to what you was asking him about when you don't get the parent backing,
Mhm.
like this the first job that I was actually willing to work for free. I don't consider it work. So it's like because the state they only willing to pay a certain amount of hours for a CYC. So some of these kids, when I see they willing to put the effort in, I'm gonna answer them calls. I'm gonna pick them up on days.
Mhm.
Like I go way over my hours for at least four of my boys,
Mhm.
but it don't even matter to me because I have to be consistent
Mhm.
because I know they don't have that support at home. And like you were saying, it's not all the parents' fault because they're in a lose-lose situation. So do we go homeless or do I keep showing up for you because you keep messing up? But it's really all come down to accountability.
Okay, okay. Let me ask you this: for you, what's the hardest part? Because you and I had talked about
Yeah,
several
the
months
hardest
ago
part.
about you had said you'd much rather you said you wanted to start talking to the parent. Remember, I don't know if you remember you
Yeah,
told me
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Explain to me the hardest part and what Mr. Joe said about the whole parental thing, parental piece.
Now I see it, man. Like three boys could have brought me to tears this week, man. I never seen somebody so young, so hopeless.
I remember you saying that.
And it's not like they're the gang banging kids or the. It's like, dang, even those kids I could relate more to because they still got hope. You dudes don't have no hope, and I don't even know where it stemmed from. It's like, man, it's like I'm looking at somebody who's willing to commit suicide. Because if you're at the point in your life and the hardest thing you have to do is go to school, and that's bringing you down, man. When you get out here in this water, I don't know what's gonna happen to you.
Where do you think that hopelessness come from?
Just not having an identity, not having an identity, man. Like y'all two, y'all kind of anomalies, and I say that because y'all was raised in the ghettos, but y'all never was of the ghetto. So y'all kind of like the
What do you?
weird kids to
Yeah,
us.
Joe, we're weird again.
I mean,
I love it.
it was hard for me, like living in the house with him.
Explain that if you to the degree you feel comfortable.
It's like he already got it. He could see he could the environment, like it was a beautiful place to him because it never he knew how to make. Now that you got me in this religion and all this, man, it's like I understand that man really only got one power. We only got one power. We got our power is we're able to make a decision.
Hmm.
That's the only thing separates you from me. Is the decisions we make. Everything else, man, he control that. We don't control whether we wake up. We don't control how we breathe. That man do, but you do got a decision. That's one thing God gave us. He even gave you a decision to believe in him or not. That's the only power we got. So it's just a choice. Determine where you gonna get in life or where you gonna go. So it's like with these kids, with me, with you, accountability has to be the biggest thing because we made the choice. If I do wrong, I never wanted to be the coward to blame it on my mama, my daddy.
Yeah.
I made that choice because I seen people with worse circumstances than me. Now we calling them asking is they hiring. Joe, if nobody know you, they don't know that you really is rooted in the projects because you were never a project kid. You was there longer than everybody who claimed it.
Hmm.
But it never like y'all anomalies. And the rest of us, it was our badge. You know what? You want instead of we letting you joke on us about being Section 8, we gonna claim this Section 8. Now the people that come from households like the ones you got, they want to be Section 8 babies because we was shamed them.
Wow. What you could be doing whatever you want to do, right? What's stirring in your heart to where you feel like the calling for your life is to help this generation of youth now?
Because I understand that this they world, they are the future. We only getting older by the day. In the world that if we don't help them, we got to live in Vietnam. So it's like we either do something, and plus, I'm part of the problem. Sometimes I even feel a little guilt helping out Sarpy County. That's not the monster I created. I owe Douglas County. But each one teach one. If I could save somebody in Sarpy, maybe it roll over to Douglas. That's why it's like when he called for the Hope Center, I feel obligated to do that. Like,
Okay, we know why you say that, but for the audience that are watching, why do you say you feel like you owe
cause
the,
I mean they opened the doors up for us. Like it was either that or we hang out in the projects and stand over the interstate and throw rocks at people's cars and not even knowing we risking their life. Cause now I'm like, dang, I'm doing 70 on the interstate. I couldn't imagine if a rock just, and I done that a lot of times. And just, I'm just glad he had mercy on us. Like sometimes it was a time in my life and I didn't pray. To be honest with you, I don't pray enough now because I don't feel worthy of those blessings. Like I know what I did.
I look at you when I see you, that's crazy, wow. I look at you and see that God brought you out of that so you can be the Moses to go back and help other kids. Joe got a clear understanding of what's needed today. I'm still, I've been in ministry for 40 some years and I'm still scratching my head as to what to do. That's a good point about the parent thing. All the parents aren't bad. Some of the parents, they're in positions where they have to work. But bottom line, Junior is still being left to himself, and he has the freedom to come and go whenever he wants. And if nobody doesn't grab him and get a hold of him, then the chances are he's going to be out there doing things, that's going to bring a lot of problems in our community. What's been the hardest part for you since you stepped into this? The hardest part about, I mean, you had mentioned, it
Number
just
one,
breaks your heart to see the kids with
the
no
hardest
hope.
part, the hardest part in the beginning was, do I choose me or do I choose them?
What do you mean by that?
I was comfortable working a nine to nine because I
Well,
never
Section
did a
8, right,
9 to 5, and my stability was in that. Like I knew my bills could get paid, my family was straight, they could get insurance. So it's like you choose you, so you could chase purpose, or I could just chase the possessions. Like I could get whatever I want working the job. And I knew what I was up against. Like this, I'm working the machine. I know this machine. I'm used to this. I know what my day intake. This I don't know.
You don't know.
I never know what kid is getting in my car and where their mind is.
Wow. Joe, what motivates you? What keeps you?
Um, what motivates me? And it's a crazy story. So when the Hope Center first opened was my summer I graduated senior year. You remember
Okay.
Tommy Warren used
Oh
to
yeah.
do the night security,
Yeah.
and I remember because you had the night basketball we were playing, and Tommy Warren was like, "Hey Joe, what you want to do when you go to college?" I was like, "Man, I want to be broadcaster. I want to be the next Stu. You remember Stuart Scott?
Oh yeah.
Because I love sports and his jokes he had, and I
Yeah.
thought I was funny. That's what I want to be." And he told me, he said, "No, go into education." And I said, "Why would I do that?" He said, "If you go into education, you will always have a job." And I didn't understand that, until once I got into the field and understood the need of a guy perspective of being there. You understand what I'm saying? So then what happened was that uh, I start to realize how lucky and fortunate that I was that when people who reached out to me to show me things got me away from a life that probably could have been something else. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, most definitely.
So I want to return the favor. You know what I mean? Like I want to return the favor. I want to be able to turn that light bulb on in somebody's head. To like, it is a possibility for me. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying? Because like Malargo was saying, like growing up, it was different. Because I was very lucky that I found my passion early on, what I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of kids that don't know what they want to do. So then what happens is a lot of the kids that we see that's in trouble and things, those be the ones that don't have a clue what they want to do. So they go with the masses. So if the masses is gang banging, I'm gonna gang bang.
I'm a gang
If the masses is making music, I'm gonna make music. You know what I mean?
Okay,
They just going whatever So just being able to expose people to different things. So like for example too, um, I do for some of the after school for the kids camp programs
Okay.
and stuff like that. Different public schools, like I go in and teach leadership classes,
Okay.
and it's
Okay.
and it's amazing to see where where we are because back into the parenting thing. Because when we talk about the leadership, so when I put little kids into the roles, we do a role play. We're like, okay, you're the leader of this group, and this will get your group organized. You can tell how the kids were being parent or how they view leaders
I
because
heard
what
you
happened.
say that the other
Yeah,
day.
because what
Yeah.
happens is they go in there and they're yelling and telling the people in their group what they're supposed to do. 'Cause they're like, "Well, I'm the leader, so you gotta da 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 da
I
da."
get it.
That
And
video, I'm the
I'm
dad.
a dad. Yeah, I
yeah, but
remember
it's true. But so then I have to break it down. I have to stop the group and I break it down. I say, "Hey, uh, how come your group didn't finish your project?" It was like, "Cause we was arguing and we was doing this." And then so I asked the group leader. I said, "Group leader, why wasn't your group following your instruction or getting it done?" Because there it is. And I asked the group, and they said, "Well, I didn't want to be yelled at." So when I asked the group leader, I said, "You want somebody talking to you crazy?" No, I don't want nobody talking to me crazy.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying? So, but like I said, those are some things learning, and like I said, like I was just very fortunate because I used to get in trouble a lot in school.
I can't
I
see
did.
it.
I used to get in trouble a lot in school. And what changed for me, I'll tell the story. My mom tricked me so good. She got me so good because back in the day, we used to have to clean chalkboards with the vacuum brushes and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So when you were bad, stay after school or miss recess, you had to clean chalkboard. So I overheard teachers talking that they have to pass the kids on regardless, right?
Okay. Okay.
So sixth grade year, I didn't do no work, none. I ain't do no homework, no nothing. So we got to seventh grade. We go to orientation. They were talking about you had to get certain credits and this and that. So I'm sitting in orientation with my mom, and she looked over at me. She said, "Well, son, if you don't get your credits, you're gonna be a 30-year-old seventh grader." After that, I was on honor roll.
That was it. He
That was
said that.
it because
That's all
because
she
it was
took.
different. The generation was different because back then, if you wasn't doing what you're supposed to do, we made fun of you.
Oh yeah.
See
Oh
now,
yeah.
now the tide has changed because those ones wasn't doing what they supposed to do that we made fun of because they were like, why would you do that stupid stuff? Now they're the cool people.
They're the cool people, like you said
Yeah, they
earlier.
they the cool people. So I was lucky enough in that generation where uh me doing what I'm supposed to do, I got respect. You know what I'm saying?
I
People
love it.
people respected me because they was like, yeah, you're doing what you're supposed to do. Yep, you go to school, you got good grades, whatever, whatever. But now those kids that got good grades, respect their family, do what they're supposed to do, that don't mean nothing.
Don't
You're a
mean nothing.
weirdo. You know what I'm saying? But
I
that's
love
but that's but that's just where the tides has turned. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Because like those kids are getting crucified for doing the right thing.
We're doing the right thing.
And just think about this. You cool now because you can't even graduate. You ain't got no job. You know what I mean? That's the new cool. So, you
Yeah,
know,
they glorify junkies.
yeah.
We glorify dealers and even like high school basketball, football. Those were celebrities to us.
I remember you saying that.
Y'all remember them games? They had to bring all the whole police force, everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody was geared up for Friday night. Now, you could just walk in the varsity game.
Yeah.
You don't got to worry about nobody sitting next to you. Nothing. You don't even know their parents. Oh man, little Kai good, but you don't know his mama.
One thing I admired, we got 2 minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna pick it up again next
Yeah,
week.
yeah.
One thing I admire about y'all two, listening to y'all story, y'all don't have to do this. Y'all could be so focused on building your life, whatever that is. What I admire about when I say men like you, what I admire about men like you is that you care enough that you're gonna look back and bring some other people with you. You know, you can be. I mean, I say this respectfully, but I see so many men in our community. Hey, they for whatever reason, hey, I'm about me and mine and doing what I need to do to make my life better and climb the ladder, whatever that ladder is. Where our kids are, you know, for whatever reason, how they got in that situation, I feel like that we have a responsibility to take our expertise, whatever God has put and given us, to reach back and do that. The unfortunate part, you know, we struggle in that area. As I feel like as a community, we can do better. We're gonna do better.
Mm-hmm.
But guys like y'all, what I admire most, like I said, what I admire most about y'all is that hey, life is more than just about me, and I see that most definitely clear in you and Joe. Knowing you, it's like hey, I want to make y'all wouldn't be satisfied if y'all was sitting on the couch watching the news and all kind of crazy stuff was happening in y'all community, and y'all just turned the channel and couldn't do nothing about it. I don't think y'all would be satisfied with that. So my encouragement for the people that are watching. Next week we'll talk more about how to get involved with Joe's program. We just want to encourage you. If there are some people that are watching, and you thinking like, man, I want to do more, but I don't know what to do. Well, you know, listening to these young men today, hopefully it'll encourage you and inspire you to just say, hey, I at least want to go for it. I feel like, you know, God has placed in your heart and in every man's heart gifting, talents, and abilities to do certain things. And I believe for this generation of kids, we most definitely need more leaders to step in and do that. You know what? Our time is up. We're going to pick this up again next week. I'm Pastor Ed King. Thanks, Joe and Milagro, for being here with us today. And until next week, remember, we walk by faith, not by sight. God bless you.